Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's dive into today's video with the story about a parking lot showdown that turned into a masterclass in karma. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Crazy Parking Lot Karen. The other day, my mom and I headed to the grocery store for a quick trip. My mom uses a wheelchair most of the time and has a handicap placard for parking. As usual, I was scouting for a handicap spot that had enough room for her wheelchair on the passenger side. After circling for a bit, I spotted two handicap spots right next to each other. Perfect. I turned on my signal and aimed for the second spot, leaving the first one open for anyone else who needed it. As I swung wide to maneuver into the space, out of nowhere, this woman, let's call her Karen, comes barreling in from the opposite direction. She turned so sharply into the first spot, I thought she was going to take the back end of my car with her. I hit the brakes and she almost clipped me before slamming into the spot like she was in a race. I stopped, exhaled, and turned to look at her. Karen, now parked in her space, was glaring at me like I'd just committed some unspeakable crime. Her face was all scrunched up, lips pursed like she sucked on a lemon. She gave me that look, the one that screamed, "You don't belong here." Well, okay, Karen, two can play this game. I exited my car slowly, never breaking eye contact with her. She sat there, watching me like a hawk, probably waiting to pounce with some self-righteous comment. I went around to the trunk, popped it open, and pulled out my mom's wheelchair. The moment I started unfolding it, her expression shifted. Her smug glare transformed into an awkward mix of surprise and embarrassment. She looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. I couldn't help myself. "Mama," I called out loudly, grinning ear to ear, "don't forget to hang your handicap placard." Karen's face turned an interesting shade of red. She quickly got out of her car, avoided all eye contact, and power walked toward the store as if her life depended on it. Inside the store, we passed her a few times in the aisles. Each time she averted her gaze, suddenly very interested in canned vegetables or cereal boxes. It was almost comical how determined she was not to look in my direction. I wasn't going to let it go without some internal satisfaction. The Karen had been silenced, and it was glorious. As we were checking out, though, things took a turn. Karen, who'd been ahead of us, was talking to a store employee. I wasn't paying much attention until I caught snippets of her conversation. Fake placards, some people just use them to park closer. That was enough for me. My blood boiled, and I marched right up. "Excuse me," I said, voice steady but sharp. "Are you accusing me of something?" Karen stammered, her bravado from earlier crumbling. I didn't say anything about you specifically." "Well, it sounds like you are implying something. Just to clarify, my mother needs that placard, and while we're at it, your reckless driving into that spot could have caused an accident. So maybe next time, instead of judging strangers, you should focus on driving safely." Karen opened her mouth, probably to retort, but then, plot twist, store manager appeared, followed by a police officer who happened to be on duty in the parking lot for holiday traffic control. Apparently, another shopper had witnessed her wild parking and reported it, thinking she almost hit my car. Karen's day went from bad to worse. The officer asked her to step aside to discuss the report. She protested, trying to deflect attention onto me again, but the officer cut her off. "Ma'am, I saw the security footage. Let's talk outside." We didn't stick around for the rest of the drama, but as we left, I couldn't help glancing at Karen through the glass. She was outside flailing her arms in indignation while the officer calmly took notes. "Mama," I said, pushing her wheelchair toward the car, "I think Karen learned a valuable lesson today." "Hope she remembers it," Mom said, chuckling. Sometimes justice has a way of unfolding right before your eyes. That situation was satisfying in the best way. You must have enjoyed watching Karen squirm when reality reached her. Her entitlement hit a wall. Her attempt to double down by accusing you of using a fake placard was just the cherry on top of her self-dug pit of embarrassment. Hopefully next time she thinks twice before trying to pull that nonsense again. And our second story. Karen's grocery store meltdown. How a fake employee turned the tables. 3 years ago, I was at the local grocery store with my college friends. Little side note, I'm autistic, and it's very uncomfortable to me when others touch me or speak to me aggressively. My friends went to the chips aisle to search for a particular brand of chips they liked while I went to gather ingredients for queso. It's important to note that I was wearing a green shirt in the same shade employees wore, but I was also wearing ratty jeans and sneakers. The scene is set. The single 19-year-old gangly female reaching for some microwavable cheese blocks. Suddenly, I'm whirled around by what I can only describe as a Karen harpy from hell. Poorly dyed black hair, spray-on tan, the works. For this stream of dialogue, I'm OP, and Hell B over there is EK for Entitled Karen. EK, you, where are the gardening supplies? I've been looking everywhere for an employee, and here you are, probably not on break. OP, oh, this is a grocery store, ma'am. They most likely don't stock supplies for gardening. Also, I don't work here. Employees wear green shirts with black vests and name tags. EK scoffs, bullcrap, you're new, aren't you? Didn't listen during training? Well, I'm gonna find your manager, and you, little missy, are coming with me. At this point, the freakish C-word grabs my upper arm hard and practically drags me from my intended purchase. I'm shocked, scared, and eventually my brain realizes this is a danger zone situation, and I start struggling and telling her to let me go, calmly but firmly. OP, ma'am, please, I don't work here. Even if I did, this is a store name. They don't stock gardening tools. I'm cut off by her sharply striking my face. She peers at me as if I'm some troublemaking lazy teen that's gone unnoticed in the workplace. EK, listen, young lady, where I come from, we had to work our butts off to get where we are. You parading around acting like you're on break is going to come to an end with me, understand? Now be a good girl for once and let me talk to your boss. I wait, tearing up quietly, on a bench while my friends run up to me. They comfort me with one of them saying that I should press charges for assault. Hell yes, I'm charging this C-word. The manager walks over, assessing my appearance, and tells the B that hit me that, no, I do not work here. Before EK can retort, I speak up. OP, sir, this woman has hit me and made threats against me. Can you call the police and have them see the security footage? The manager looks shocked. M, ma'am, is this true? EK, certainly not. This little a-hole told me to get lost when I was asking for assistance. What a piece of crap. M, well, this is a serious accusation, so I'm calling the cops anyway. The EK turns tail and bolts. I can almost hear her fake tan butt cheeks clapping in the wind. My friends manage to coerce me into leaving the store, and we go back to my apartment to eat and watch TV. Later, I got a house call from the cops with EK in handcuffs. Turns out she'd been shoplifting in that store for a little under a month by coercing younger college-age employees to check her out and forget to ring up things like expensive cuts of meat, bottles of wine, etc. The employees were all too scared to do anything because she had a photo ID of the regional manager, who was her brother, and she claimed he'd fire them if anything was reported. I told the cops my statement, and they took it straight to her brother, who, despite being close to her, pressed charges for theft, assault, and other grievances. From what I can tell, the EK goes in and out of jail these days for minor crimes. Wow, talk about an escalation. This is one of those stories that starts with your standard mistaken for an employee trope, but then takes a hard left turn into Karen in full crime mode territory. First off, major props to you for keeping it together after being assaulted. It's hard enough to deal with someone yelling at you, let alone grabbing and slapping you. It's satisfying to hear that justice came swiftly with her own brother pressing charges. It's one thing to be an entitled nightmare, it's another to actively manipulate and harm others. And our last story. Karen, the temporary boss. Last year, my old boss, who was beloved by everyone, left the company. In the meantime, upper management decided to place Karen, who ran another department, in charge of our team. She had no idea what we did, nor did she show any interest in learning. Fine, I thought, as long as I can do my work, get paid, and leave her to it. The trouble started when she began accusing us of disrespecting her over the smallest things. If we were a few minutes late to a meeting, it was disrespect. If someone had to step away to use the restroom, disrespect. If we took PTO, which was part of our benefits, that was also disrespect. Eventually, I had enough. I started documenting every instance with proof and witnesses in an Excel sheet. It was annoying, sure, but I figured I could just ride it out and look for another job, which I was already passively doing. The tipping point came during my yearly review, the first and, I hoped, last time I was placed on a performance improvement plan. Karen repeatedly told me I was lazy and disrespectful despite receiving positive feedback from several clients and working late most nights. I kept quiet, just doing my work until I secured a new job. Then, when I handed in my resignation, I also included the spreadsheet as an explanation for why I was leaving. I figured it was time to let everything out. Now, while we weren't all going to quit in solidarity with our former boss, I was different. I did more than just my job. I helped make my coworkers' jobs easier. I was the glue that held the team together. So when I left, everyone else followed suit, and our team, it turns out, provided a service that brought in the majority of the company's revenue. Without us, the business was heading towards bankruptcy. When I submitted my resignation, I decided to BCC the CEO who I had a good relationship with. He told me on several occasions that he would do anything to keep me at the company. Once he saw the spreadsheet and learned about Karen's behavior, he stood by his word and asked if he should fire her. Now, Karen may have been a terrible manager, but she had young kids, and I wasn't heartless. I told him no, but if more people left because of her, he should definitely reconsider her position. My last day came, and the rest of the team followed suit and resigned effective immediately. They all cited Karen's disrespectful behavior as the reason. With no team left to manage, the CEO decided that Karen no longer had a place at the company and fired her without severance. How do I know this? Well, Karen started spamming me with calls for days. Fortunately, my new job was at a law firm, and I had one of the lawyers draft a cease and desist letter. After that, I didn't hear from her again. And I've been enjoying my new job Karen-free. Great example of how to handle a toxic boss without making things messier for yourself. Karen had no idea how to manage and decided to rule with her obsession over respect instead of actually learning how to lead a team. When the whole team resigned after you, it showed just how important you all were to the company. Karen's downfall wasn't just deserved, it was practically self-inflicted. And honestly, the fact that you still had the decency to suggest she not be fired immediately speaks volumes about your character. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.